Welcome, everybody, to Dead Talk Live. I am your host, Viz, and today we are joined by the star of The Visitor, Jessica McNamee. I was about to call you Mia. The character
Lots of
name,
M's.
Jessica. The Visitor is coming out on digital and streaming tomorrow, actually, October 7th. So you must be very excited about that. It is also premiering on Epix this coming December. So let's get right to it. The Visitor is this great psychological mind bender that really keeps you riveted to your seat from start to finish. Your character, Mia, is one of the main players in the story. Now, what were your first impressions of Maya? I guess it's Maya, not Mia. What were your first impressions of Maya when you first read the script?
Yeah, so at first I was reading and I was kind of getting through the first maybe, I think it was like 30 pages. And I was like, all right, what's going to happen with this girl? I was like, something has to give. I want to play interesting roles, right? Something that pushes me. And then, of course, without giving too much away, there gets to a certain point in the movie and you're like, oh, okay, yep. There's something happens here with this girl. And so it was really cool. It was kind of worth the wait for me reading this. And then when there was the big reveal, so it was cool. I was like, there's some interesting scenes in there for my character that I'd never kind of done on screen before. There's a birth scene that's quite full on, and some weird stuff that happens there. And I was quite scared at first, really, to do those scenes, but the reason we do this weird job is to push ourselves and scare ourselves. And I was like, all right, I'm just going to launch straight in and go for it.
And it was amazing. I got to tell you that much. Now, the story focuses on Robert, which is your husband. He is being manipulated, groomed for some greater purpose that we don't know for the majority of the film. That's what makes the story so interesting. What aspects of Maya did you bring into the role that were not originally in the script, if any?
Yeah, certainly more of a sense of humor, I think. I really wanted to make our relationship, mine and my role and the character of Robert, our relationship, I really wanted it to land. I wanted to seem really authentic and that there was some depth to it. And the same thing with our characters. I really wanted to bring as much depth and interesting, some interesting elements to our characters to make us feel relatable. And so that people would jump on board and really want to kind of the best for us, want us to succeed. So I think it was kind of finding those very grounded, relatable human moments between our characters was kind of what we both brought, I think, to this movie, to make the relationship believable. And I didn't see as much of that jumping off the page when I first read it.
And you and Finn, Finn Jones, who plays Robert, had such great chemistry. Who was cast first? Was he cast first and then you booked the role? How did that play out?
I think it was, or it was like on the same day. I think what happened was I think I got pinned for the role, but they didn't want to cast my character until they also found Finn's character. So I think it was like on the same day that we got offered. But they were waiting to find the Finn role before pulling the trigger on mine, I'm pretty sure is how it went.
And the dynamics between your two characters really jumps out from the screen. Did they have you guys do any kind of chemistry reads together or what?
No, which is wild because, I'm really looking forward to getting into the behind the scenes part of this industry. And I always think if I were directing something, I would love to be able to make sure that these two people vibed. But just the nature of the industry is that you don't always have the time. Like some of these things happen so quickly. I know that there was problems with the location because there was a hurricane right before we got there. So a whole bunch of things got pushed. It was like they had to find new locations. So there were so many other things that were happening in the process of us getting cast that they just simply didn't have the time to get us together. So we got down to New Orleans. We met out for dinner, and we immediately hit it off, and we were like, thank God, because it can go badly if you don't have a vibe with the person you're working with.
Exactly. Now, do you believe that Maya sought Robert out? You guys were living in London. You're married. That's where you got married. Do you think your character purposely sought him out, married him just to bring him back to her small town?
100%.
Yeah. Yeah.
Although you're not meant to think that. But yeah, I guess that's the whole reveal, right? Yeah, the whole thing's calculated. And that's what also was really fun about the role when I was watching it. It was like, I mean, when I was reading, was like, you have such an idea of who you think she is.
Mm-hmm.
And then it all just gets flipped on its head. And that's so cool. That's so cool to play. It's cool. It gives an undertone for the entire performance in the lead up to this kind of twist. So yeah, I certainly feel like that's exactly what she did.
Now,
she's way more calculated. Yes.
Oh yeah, manipulative, calculative. Yeah, Maya's definitely all those things. Now, when Finn Jones, Robert, everything is going along fine until he discovers that first painting. It's a painting that bears a resemblance to him, but it really unnerves him more than you would think. And your character, tries to play it off. Yeah, he kind of looks like you and whatnot. Why do you think that picture just really hits him in the gut?
I think because there's already this really weird undercurrent for him coming into this small town. He's picking up that there's people in this town that are odd, that are looking at him funny, that are giving him weird looks. He already feels a little bit like I think it already feels like deja vu for him, right? Because he's got all these people who are waving at him and saying hi to him, and he's like, it feels like he's familiar there, but he's never been there before. So he's already feeling this weird undercurrent from this town, and then this painting appears, and he's like, "What the hell is going on?"
Do you see Maya's role as his wife? When she brings him to the town to sort of help integrate him, because like you said, the town looks at him funny. It's like you're at a party and you're the only one that doesn't know what's going on.
Anyone, but everyone knows you. Yeah. I think I could equate this, it feels somewhat like if you're famous, right? If you're, I'm sure this is that idea that like, if you walk into a party and you don't know anyone, but everyone knows you because you're in the movies or something. So it's this weird imbalance, where it's everyone has information about you and you don't have any information about them. So I think it's the same kind of concept. It's almost like there's this weird celebrity that's popped into a small town. But yeah, I think it's a fine line for Maya where she's half trying to encourage him to kind of lean into this small town and supporting him through all of that. But then she's also gaslighting him and making him feel crazy. Like he's imagining all of this, that no one cares, no one's looking at him. This painting isn't him. Like, what's wrong with you? That she's like really, really kind of, being manipulative and gaslighting him.
Now, there's an element of substance abuse in the film where Robert, might be taking some anxiety medications that he's not supposed to, and you as his wife, are asking him. Do you feel that she knows that he is taking the medication and just doesn't reveal it till she's ready or has a place to?
Yes, I do think she knows. Yeah, for sure. I think that's part of it all, right? It's the manipulation. She knows a lot more. You get kind of, I mean, without giving too much away, you assume that she's just this meek, kept woman that's just going along for the ride. But I think what the interesting thing is, as you kind of come to find out, is that it's all calculated. She's across it all.
Exactly. What was the experience like working with Finn throughout this whole movie? Did you guys gain a deeper respect for each other? Tell us about that.
Yeah, it was great working with Finn, honestly. It can be really hard when you don't have a good dynamic with someone on set, but when you're working so closely together. I've only really had it once or twice in my entire career where I felt like, oh, this person sucks. But Finn luckily was not one of those people. He's great. We hit it off immediately. He's English, I'm Australian. We've kind of got a similar sense of humor. We like the same music, and we like the same stupid animal videos on social media. So it was great. And it was really weird time to film because it was during COVID. Everyone was masked. We didn't really get to see anyone's real faces on set except each other. So we were kind of just like glued to each other. And yeah, we had so many intimate scenes, whether it was like intimate in bed or there was a birth scene, there was breakdown scenes, there was fights. So we really had to be simpatico and be on the same page, or it really would have been awkward.
Since you brought up the birth scene, your character getting pregnant, do you think that was also a part of her plan as well?
Yeah, for sure. And obviously she's had a miscarriage earlier on, and that's kind of what brings them back to this small town. The trauma of that and wanting to really start a family and start a family back around her town, in her town, around her, the people that know her and can support her. So yeah, it's exactly what her plan was. And obviously
it's hard. You got to walk around those spoilers.
I know.
A lot of plot twists. Now you have a great career in playing these very empowered women, like in Mortal Kombat, The Meg. Where do you see this character along those lines? Do you see her as a strong female, even though it is on the bad side a little bit? How does she rate compared to some of the other characters that you've played?
See, it's tricky because I don't necessarily find her to be that strong. I find her to be kind of deceptive and kind of tragic, and because I guess without giving too much away, she's still playing into the patriarchy. Like it's still a generational kind of trauma that she's dealing with from her father and her father's father, and she's just a puppet sort of in a man's world. And then it kind of also backfires on her in the end without, again, giving too much away. So no, I actually find her to be quite tragic and not that empowered. I find her to be just kind of, yeah.
One of the questions that really doesn't get answered in the film, which I think it's perfect because it leaves it up to the viewer interpretation, is there a ringleader? Is there a person that's in charge of what's going on? Some people might look at your character and say, you're the one in charge. You're the one that married him. You're the one responsible for bringing him into the town. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I definitely think she is, for sure, the ringleader. It doesn't necessarily mean that she's empowered, though. I think it's that thing that it's like this idea of generational trauma, like, and it's everywhere you go, right? It's the people kind of just repeat behaviors because they were treated a certain way, or they had certain expectations held up towards them by their parents or their grandparents. And it's this idea that it's just like, without breaking the cycle of this like generational trauma, then the cycle continues. And this is kind of a big metaphor for that, in a kind of fucked up way.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so it's interesting. I think that she's just continuing on as what she only knows this to be her one purpose, and she's lost without that. So that's why I find it quite tragic.
Was this your first film after the pandemic hit?
Yeah.
So it must have been really weird, with all the new protocols in place.
Yeah. And I got COVID in the middle, which was a bummer. So I shut down production. I know, I felt very bad about it. I was the only one that got it, weirdly, too. So I shut down production for a week there, which was not great for everyone else, but it is what it is, right? It's the new age. So I think it was nice. It was the middle of shooting. So I think some of them had a little break, which was nice too. Some days off. It's fairly intense content.
We're almost out of time, but I do want to ask you, do you enjoy as a fan watching a good psychological thriller like The Visitor is? That's something that will keep you guessing as to what's going on as a story slowly unfolds in front of you?
Yeah. Like two of my, favorite movies in the last kind of 5 years would have been Get Out and A Quiet Place.
Yes.
Those ones you're just like, on the edge of your seat, not knowing what's going to happen. I'm terrified of those movies as well. Like I get quite anxious knowing I'm going to go and see one of these movies. And then when I'm in it, I just have a ball. So I haven't seen The Visitor in its entirety yet. I'm seeing a screening tonight because I love the experience of seeing these genre movies in a cinema with an audience.
Mm-hmm.
I got scared in Get Out so badly. I was in a packed cinema that I screamed, and literally the entire cinema around me, I was like, ah, and they were like, ah, and the whole cinema jumped. And it wasn't even that scary of a part. Like I just got such a fright that I scared everyone around me. And then afterwards, I was so embarrassed. I had to like run out before the credits because I was like, I don't want anyone to have seen who was the one person that just screamed in the middle of the movie and scared everyone.
So this film is directed by Justin Lang. What was it like working with Justin?
He was great. He's really great. He has such a beautiful vision for his movies. Even it doesn't matter what, genre it is. It's like shot so beautifully. He made the town look beautiful and so cinematic, and he made us look great, on screen. And he really was collaborative. He let us bring a lot to this script in terms of what we were talking about earlier about trying to really develop our characters and give them kind of, much more grounded and more 3D quality. And he was open to all of it. So we were very lucky to have him.
Now, a lot of people are going to watch this interview. They're going to watch the movie and they're like, wow, she's Australian. But in the movie, you play this sort of like deep South girl in the United States. Is that difficult for you to get into a character coming from the deep South in the U.S.? I mean, it's just people are going to think about that, and then they're like, "Wow, that must be so difficult." It might not be. How is it for you?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I've lived in LA now for like 10 years, so I've been in America a long time. But no, I actually find it easier to get into character when I'm further away from my true self. So for me, putting an accent on and departing, like I'm an absolute idiot in real life. Like I'm just the silliest idiot that there ever was. So to play quite a like put together Southern woman with, of course, an accent is a departure for me. I mean, I'm like trying my hardest not to swear in this interview. I swear like proper. No, but that's what I mean. I just
whatever you want.
All right, shit, fuck. No, but I just swear a lot. And I'm like, playing a character that's not like that is tricky for me, but it's also good because it feels like you're so far away from who I am. Mm-hmm. And for sure, costume and for me, hair and dialect or accent are a big part of what really helps me to get into a character. So I really enjoy having an accent or a different dialect in any work that I do. I find it harder to be Australian because I find it's just like me playing me,
And I guess that's not really that much fun. The whole point about
it's boring.
Exactly.
I'm very boring.
No, I doubt that. Jessica, I want to thank you so much. For our audience, again, the movie's called The Visitor. It is coming out on digital and on demand October 7th. It is hitting Epics in December. Check it out. This is a film that's going to keep you on the edge of your seat. It's a psychological mind bender. You're not going to see the end coming, even though you think we might have given away some spoilers here. We didn't give away anything. Check it out. You won't be disappointed. Jessica, do you have any final thoughts you want to share before we go?
I was like, come and follow me on Instagram or Twitter or whatever. I want to hear your thoughts. And I want to see what you think of the film. And I want to say hi. So yeah.
Absolutely. I think people are going to love it. This is a great film. Anyway, Jessica, thank you so much for being on our show. I want to thank our audience for tuning in. On behalf of Jessica, McNamee, and myself, stay safe and stay walking, everybody.